Okay, so let's start on session. Next session is KonMari, your Flutter code. So please welcome Csongor.
Konnichiwa, Flutter Ninja. Thank you so much for having me. This is the first time also in the country, so it's really amazing to get in contact with you and also knowing more all of you. Thank you so much again. So KonMari, your Flutter code using DCM. But before we are going to the topic, let me introduce myself very quickly. I'm Csongor Vogel. I'm a Hungarian Flutter developer. I'm a staff software engineer at Talabat, which is the largest food delivery application in the Middle East, and where I also have an opportunity to work together with more than 50 Flutter engineers. Besides that, I'm also a lecturer at my home country, where I'm remotely teaching computer science students about Flutter since in the last 4 years. And last but not least, I'm one of the co-organizers of Flutter Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Before going up to the topic, I want all of you to considering a situation and imaging a situation when the following happened. You are at home, running late, your alarm didn't wake you up, but your first meeting is just starting in any minute. It happened a lot of times with me, and then what are the first things which is coming to our our mind, that somehow we really need to get ready and leaving the house as soon as we can. So for example, what would happen next week or here after this conference, that I would wake up, but the following messy room is welcoming me, which can also confuses me and can also delay all of my decision to be able to leave my house. So what are the questions and what are the decisions what we are also making within a very a few amount of time? For example, which outfit actually is clean or ironed? Where is my a T-shirt what I received from the organizers and I could proudly of wearing in the conference? Where is my phone? Is it at least charged or not? And then in a messy room, all of these cognitive load can really delay all of my decisions and can also result again not reaching in time to my first meeting. But why we are talking about this? We are developers, right? Because we are also working sometimes with messy code which can also trigger multiple questions within our head and also within our developers, like a colleague said. For example, how can I set up a new project when I'm shifting from projects to another projects? What are the dependencies? What is the state management in a Flutter project, which can also frequently coming to us as a question? Or if I'm modifying something, what else can break, or should I duplicate things, or should I reinvent some specific approaches within a large code base? And all of these questions are pretty, I would say that this is natural that all of these questions are coming due our day-to-day work, and we need to also take decisions on these by implementing new features. It's natural because as a project scale, the Flutter or independent from Flutter, the code clutter also increases. The legacy code from the past, what we can also see within the code base, unused assets or dependencies can also blow the project size. Some particular UI components, widgets, objects can become overly complex with the time. The lack of standards and inconsistent code also can make very difficult the navigation for teams if they need to touch other teams code bases and they need to collaborate on specific features. And the lack of standards can also result in slowing down onboarding or increasing the technical depth over the time. So there is a lot of challenges, and I was really craving for inspiration or something which can help me to basically tackle these challenges. And this is where Marie Kondo's KonMari method came, which was basically the main foundation and the inspiration for today's presentation. So what are the main rules what the KonMari method provides us? First of all, the rule number 1, commit yourself to tidying up, which means that this is a commitment. This is not a hot fix or not 1 week sprint, but we can fix it. And then after that, we don't need to deal with a code clutter for the upcoming quarters. This is a commitment which also takes like a responsibility from teams to owning their code base, and also doing to be able to reach like a better code. The second rule, if it comes to code, imagine your ideal lifestyle. We should imagine what kind of code base or what we want to for example hand over later on for other colleagues. What is the code base that we want to achieve? Or do we want to focus on developer experience, make it very easy to contribute for other developers? Or do we want to focus mostly on business or customer preferences? Because in the previous talks from Ashita, we also learned that we had also several things that if we are tackling, like performance or memory leak issues, we can also achieve like a code base which would provide like a better application and a better user experience for our users. Rule third, finish discarding first, which means that we can commit to huge refactoring, which can sometimes we can get we are developers and we can get very excited when we can transition from one architecture to another, or we can do very impactful changes. But besides the impactful changes, we need to think about that when we see unused assets, dependency, code bases, when we can have easy and quick wins, we should also remove those first, and can also strengthen the muscles of removing irrelevant code pieces. And one of the most important rules, tidy by category, not by location. Basically, that was one of the rules which really differentiated the KonMari method from other cleanup strategies, because it really helps the people to focusing on really what matters at that one time, each by each. Which means that, for example, if you are speaking about cleaning, if you are cleaning a kitchen or a bedroom, then we need to deal all of the issues and categorization problems in every locations. Besides, if you will start with the clothes in the entire household what we have, or the papers, we could get better understanding that where we need to keep things which are actually important. The same with the code bases, that if we are doing it category by category, then we can also manage a better prioritization, and we could also do it with less friction. And the last question, we need to ask ourselves, does it spark joy? Which is one of the main a question also from the KonMari, which help us to understand that keeping only what is relevant for us or relevant for the business or the customers, and this will help us to achieve also a better code basis. So what we can use to basically practicing the KonMari rules and the KonMari method. This is the tool which helped me in the previous months, which was DCM, in other words, Dart Code Matrix. So what is DCM? DCM, an advanced static analysis tool for specifically Dart and Flutter, and it can improve our code quality by identifying code smells and violations against best practices, unused codes, files, unused assets, dependency issues, and also metrics. If you guys remember for the previous rule of 4, which was tidying up by category and not by location, actually this is a very good a tool to achieve that. And to do that, I was bringing for today's session a small demo. So let's take a look on that. So this application will be also linked to the end of the presentation and can be also found in a public repository. I want to also show you guys. So what we are tackling and dealing with together, which will be a sample application of Tokyo Metro sample. So one thing which can be a fun fact that in Hungary we don't have too much metros, but I spent all of my childhood on sitting in metro cabins. And now, for example, now Dubai is fully the opposite, because there is not as huge coverage compared to Japan. So I really forget how to traveling and then using metro lines as a transportation. So yes, I got shocked when I just recently landed in Tokyo with the metro line. So within this small sample application, we will practicing the different metro lines what we can see. So if we are opening the application, we will see in a first list screen, as you can see, and here we will have the multiple lines which are covered in Tokyo. And if you are clicking in one of the metro lines, then it will load also the metro stops. So actually this is the only two screens what our application deals. I wanted to also keep it simple as much as I could, but it also reveals some code violations and issues what we can also clean up together. First of all, to understand also how this project was built recently, I also want all of your attention in the left side. So you can see that we have some packages. Below the packages we have a core which contains three things: an API service, which is spoiler alert, actually just containing a fake implementation, so there is no actual real API call under the hood. I had a chance to mock everything. Besides that, we have an entry point for our application, a design, or a library, which can also provide some specific tokens and colors. And besides that, we have two features. As you can see, we have one feature which is called metro line list. This metro line list is responsible for showcasing these metro lines, and we have the metro stop package, which is responsible for any user experience in this very complex Ginza line, a metro stops screens. Now, the first thing first, what we can reveal or analyze, and DCM can be very handy on this. If we are checking, for example, the structure of this project, which we can use the following a command, and besides this command, it will also generate for us a specific architecture structure. And then if I'm zooming out now, we can also hide this application for a while. If you are zooming out, then we will see the following, what we also recapped. So in the beginning, we have an entry point with our application, and this application will talk with two features. If I'm zooming out a little bit, and you should see that, so many lines, and in the screens I wouldn't say is the most readable, but we can see that there are a lot of lines and a lot of rectangles, and we can see that there is two main features differentiated. This metro stop and the other one is metro line list. So these are our feature packages, what you can also see on the left side. And then we see that there is a domain model, which is containing entities like metro line, metro stop, and metro line colors. And then we have the API service, what I mentioned for all of you, which is also having and providing a fake implementation. Before we are going and moving on to the next slide, I just want to also highlight that both of these features, even if it's just a really a basic application, both of them is using a block implementation. So this will be the state management for this a code snippet, and then we will see that was I able to manage the implementation very well. But for example, one thing which can be considered within this view, that we can see that this metro line, for example, is using structures like data domain and UI layer. Let me also open it from its source, data domain UI. But if we would compare it for the metro stop package, then we can immediately found out that it only has data and presentation. So already some conventions are receive some violations. Either I was too sleepy when I was implementing, or if we are thinking about two teams, can also start building things and can also grow it in a wrong way. But let's go to the violations, and let's see that which categories we should pick it up. And then for that, there is a command, which is the DCM run all upload. And then what I uploaded is basically all of the violations, what we can start looking at, and we can pick it up. So where these violations are collected, basically this can be found in one of the latest features of DCM, which is this dashboard. So as you can see that this is a dashboard what I just recently uploaded. So we can see that if I'm we just run it. So yes, the latest update was now, and actually this is one of the latest feature of the tool, which shows that how many potential bugs I have, how many readability issues, maintainability issues, performance or memory leak related problems my code base can showcase. And besides that, it's also categorized and providing specific categories for unused codes, asset files, and applications, etc. Why is it really helpful? That it shows me like with a timestamp that what was the snapshot of my code base, and it can also influence me for the decision making that which categories I should take it next for cleaning up. And besides that, if you are scrolling down, then you would also see that in the previous days I tried to tackling these issues, and I hope that during this session we could minimize the problems together. So this will be the main goal for the upcoming minutes. So let's go back to the summary and let's see that which violations we should tackling first. All of these violations are somehow impacting one of the aspects of our our product development. What I would suggest first, maybe we can revisit these issues and these violations which are listed in the first two rows. So hopefully these lean rules can also, if we are addressing these, hopefully we can also reduce the number of bugs and issues what our end users can face by using our applications. So let's go back to the project. And then there is one specific a file. What if we are using lean tools in general, then it can be we can be very familiar. So this is the analysis options which can be found in our root folder. And basically, besides including the basic Dart analyzer specifically for Flutter, if you are scrolling down, using the following command, we can also start adding specific rules which are implemented and can be controlled using DCM. During this presentation and during this demo, I'm already having a licensed a DCM version. So there are some features which are only included in the Pro and not in the free, but there are also a lot of features which are also covered by the free plan. So using Dart code matrix, we can use as default some recommended presets, and this can be also very helpful when we are starting a new project. But my recommendation that maybe if we are introducing it first time, it can also trigger a lot of violations. So what are the violations? What these rules can also trigger within our code base, and can be also reflected within the dashboard. DCM has also integration with Visual Studio and also with Android Studio, what I'm using during this demo. And you can see, guys, that there is a lot of issues. We have how many? 10 errors, 88 warnings, and 10 hints. So you can see that also the severity also matters for these rules, what we can change within our code base. So what are the main rules? Besides the recommended, which also added everything as a warning, and the recommended also contains a sort of rules specifically. We can also override the severities. So if with you and your colleagues can agree on specific violation issues and severity levels, then feel free to modify all of these from your configuration file. So let's say that what are the main violations what we have. For example, we can also click on specific ones, which would be the avoid throw inside the catch. So when we are clicked, then it immediately shows that we have also error severity highlighted in our repository implementation. And within our code base, it already gives me a feedback and also suggestions how I can fix these issues. I don't need to push my code, waiting for someone else to pointing out in a pull request. Also, I don't need to wait for a specific CI check to giving me this feedback. During implementation, DCM can also help me to prevent issues and violations. So let's see that what we can do in this scenario. If I have zero clue how could I solve these specific issues, then I could just also going to the specific documentation. And if you are opening the documentation, then for all of the almost 400 rules what DCM provides us, you could find very descriptive examples and also additional resources that how we can also prevent and fix particular issues. So let's say that avoid throwing catch blog to understand more the issues. It says that if, for example, we are just throwing a specific exception model from a class, if you are talking about error handling, then there is a huge chance that you can lose also the stack trace from that particular code base. So what was the suggestion? Let me also check it again because honestly I forget. Let's open the documentation. And then the documentation also suggests that we can, for example, either just rethrowing the exception with all of together with the stack trace. So I could also like use this particular interface. Let's do it together. So let me close the documentation, and instead of this exception, let me just like keep the error message. Maybe the previous code, like a developer wanted to like keep it. I can also just like override, and we also need a stack from our catch plug. Let me implement it, and that's it. One violation is disappeared, and we can see that now we have remaining like 9 error severities. So continuing with the error severities, let's see what is the next one. We have avoid initiating like in-values in provider. So if you are checking the associated code with our code base, let me close everything else. So we have a widget, we have a stateful widget, and within the stateful widget, we are wrongly passing, actually constructing like a new instance of this block, and using wrongly the provider.value, which would like expect like an existing instance. So how we could like solve it? We should primarily using the default create like a constructor of provider. So we need a function, and this function needs to have like a one function, like this create needs one function which we return with this block, and we can remove this one. Now there is another like error severity issue. We could also show us that we should prefer using block provider to not forget, for example, disposing our associated objects if we are talking about a stateful widget. And we can also check the documentation to learn about these rules. We can also visit the provider or block or any additional open source documentation to learn about the usages of it. But we can see that, like besides Dart analyzer, DCM provides rules and additional lint rules for open source third-party libraries. Now let's see that, for example, block provider. You can see that when I'm using the Alt-Enter, it also provided me to there is a fix, like a quick fix, like a feature. So I can also change it automatically from provider to block provider, and this can prevent me. I think there was here just like one issue, and now we could also eliminate one additional error severities. Now this could take a lot of time for us, like going like one by one and fixing all of these manually. But the good news that similarly to the block provider, there is a quick fix function within DCM. So let's just go back to our terminal. First of all, let's also use the DCM analyze options, and you can also see that basically it loaded. Let me see if it's visible a bit in down. Let me just run it again. So it will run all of these commands and analyzer in every 7 packages that we have in our monorepo. So we can also ensure that we can also run it in our entire project, or if we just want to run the specific features in specific ones. For example, I can go to packages, features, metro line list. I can also say that I'm just curious what are the issues or analysis on that particular package. So this can also help me to target something locational, but we discussed previously that based on the KonMari suggestion, we should go by category. So let's go back to our root folder. And then what I will try to use is basically the DCM fix command. And the DCM fix command, if you are checking the help function and argument, it also shows that we can use this to basically auto-fixing on specific rules which has this auto-fix feature. So let's see if it works. DCM fix dot, and as default it will use the DCM a type lint. And if we are running it, and then after we would open our DCM, then we can see that our mean severity issues are largely reduced, and we still have some warnings and hints, but we can also see that all of these warnings are mainly contradicting from these type of problems. So let's just quickly commit addressing the issues. Let's commit and let's take a look in our main dashboard that we just visited in the beginning of our a demo. So let's see DCM run all uploads. So I'm uploading this snapshot from my code base to the dashboard, and let's see if any like a progression can be also like reflected from this dashboard. So if you are scrolling, now the numbers are still high. So we are still like above 100 based on violations, but we can see that if we are checking, for example, the categories here, then we can see that with the red line, with these potential bugs from 16, please follow the red ones, from 16 it like decreased almost the half of it, so we are in a good track. We shouldn't just stop it in this point. So what is the next step what we can consider? We just started to practicing with the DCM fix. We can see that what are the remaining parts. We can see that we have a lot of unused code. We have files what we wanted to add, but for example, we never had a chance to implement it, as I wanted in this branch, like adding some weather information of for my metro trips, but I never had to continuing to working on. So maybe there is also a chance that we could also clean up things which are unfinished or it's not used at all. So let's say that what we can do, of course, we can like a line by line cleaning up manually, but we can also use the DCM a fix and type, and the DCM type has also unused files, unused code, etc. So for example, we can also run the unused code command, and then we will see that from issues from 104, if you are running it again, then we almost halved all of the issues, and this would also reflect back from the dashboards what we have. So we are almost reaching the bottom of it. But besides besides the unused code, we also have unused files, and then we can continue. Of course, we would need to also review all of these a session. For example, we can see that we can also exclude specific public APIs, which can be very important when we want to clean up things which can be used by other teams. Or for example, in this case, we also cleaned up some specific parts from our design system. These parts can be also prevented using prefixes, excluding public APIs, etc. But one additional interesting things that we can also see from DCM is that we can also prefer, if you are checking the analysis options, that we can also add rules specifically about our dependency management. So if you are scrolling down in our rules, then we can see that we have also specific rules for PubSpec, and then we, for example, want to avoid any usage. And if you are checking the same one in our built-in linter, then we can see that besides we are using wrongly the any command for specific features, we can also see that we have dependencies what we are actually not using. I haven't used any a code generator. As I mentioned to all of you, we are not using real APIs, so we have also some dependencies, but we are wrongly maybe from a template we left it, and we never had a chance to come back and clean up all of these. So there is one a command for that, to also running an analyzer, which can be the DCM check dependencies, and this can also going through all of our code base and can also giving us a report that what are the packages. For example, on the API service, we are not using Flutter, which makes sense because there is no anything UI related things what we could use within our API implementation. And also for example, let me see if there's any additional, but we can see that there is a lot of unrelated packages. We can also see that we have packages imported for scroll pagination, but within our code base for the metro lines, we actually never really had a chance to implement any pagination in this case. So we can for sure going one by one and removing all of these violations. But the good news is that DCM also has a quick fix for this. So we can say that DCM fix, and then from type there should be also one for dependencies. And if we are running it, this is finalized. Let's also upload right now the current snapshot for our dashboard. And then we can see that now the numbers are way less than 100, and we had a chance to base by category one by one going through all of these violations. But what are the remaining parts which can still impact our customers? So besides like cleaning up dependencies, it's very important to also like reviewing our like assets, images, and other like sources what we are also like storing in our application. So there are specific like analyzer what DCM also provides us. For example, we can say we can analyze our assets first, and we can also like open some specific reports like this, and then we can also like review it together. So after a little bit zooming in, we can see that we have two icons in our project. You can see that there was like an old icon what we used in the beginning, and then we switched to the Tokyo Metro lines, which is smiling, and we never had a chance to take some time and cleaning up this. The icon is not a problematic part, but we can see that the developer was really like obsessed with the Budapest metro line. So I also this developer also left us some assets and images, which was like maybe considered to edit to our application, and we can see that also like takes like way more like a space besides the dashboard, which is also visible. So we can also go through, and actually like these also reflecting back as asset issues, and all of these from the dashboard we can also see that like analyzing this asset. This is what we use for this specific report just right now. So we can also go to the project. We can also see that where these assets were reported. So we can also check that. We can also search by name. But right now, we don't have a very problematic part. But working in a very large code base, detecting these assets can be very painful. And then we can also find, target these specific images what we are not using, and we can also just clean up all of these or with associated. And similarly to the assets, we can also track, for example, the usage of localization files. This can be also cause some additional maintenance overwork for the developers. What else we have within our dashboard? There's not much left so far. We need to also run and update this dashboard. But what we can also use, for example, we can also start analyzing our widgets. We haven't had a chance to do that, but there is also a widget analyzer, which can also show the similarity between our widgets, which means that, for example, for our screen, what we just seen in the beginning, we have two screens. We have this Tokyo Metro lines, and we have another list screen which is showing the specific stops. For each screen, we can find and we can target that there is we didn't really splitted the screen for smaller pieces. But for example, we can opening these widget reports. We have also a chance to going through. We can also see some specific metrics, which is also included in the DCM analyzer rule. We can see that, for example, we are using a lot of widgets within these classes, which can also encouraging us to split it to smaller pieces. And besides that, we can also check what are the other usages and what is also the widget tree which is implemented in our code. But for example, if we are going back to the widgets, one interesting thing can be also found is that we have, for example, one empty widget implemented, and we have also there is also a loading widget implemented in one of the packages. And then if you are checking, for example, this a loading widget, then we can also see that what are the similarities between others. And we can also see, for example, that there is another component which is also very similar to this loading widget, which is actually just showing a specific progress indicator with the center, but that can also indicate that this can be also hosted or provided by our design system, instead of letting the engineers to duplicate and in their own, where can be also less error prone. So there is a lot of additional informations what we can also get from these widget reports. These widget reports can help us to enforce higher adoption for our design system. And besides, there is also a lot of besides that, there is a lot of metrics what we could also analyze within our code base, what I can run by the following DCM. Let me just check the latest update of the dashboard, and I think with this we will also wrap up this a cleanup. So we can see that basically as an end result, we had a chance to like reduce like most of the issues within less than 1.3 hours together. So let's go back to the presentation and let's take and review the main key takeaways from this. So why we were doing the whole? Because we want to achieve like a code base that can spark joy. What does it mean? The end goal is basically like have ability to reducing the technical debt. What we were doing like by addressing violations, we can reduce the hidden bugs which can also reflecting back, or we can hearing back from crash critiques or from other a source from user reports. With these cleanups, we can also achieve faster build times and improve our performance, because there is also thousands of plenty of rules which is also specifically targeting performance improvements. And then using DCM, finally we could also reach and achieve a better consistent coding standards across our team, which can resulting on easier a navigation within our code base, and also quicker onboarding for new developers. Last not least, if we are investing in the maintenance, we have a chance to also spending more time on actually building new features instead of doing last minute firefighting. So how you can introduce it to your own company? In the previous months, we had a chance to also doing a free trial, and we recognize the following phases, what I can here recommend for all of you. So firstly, within the preparation phase, spend time, get together with your colleagues, and let's agree on the most critical priorities. Define the rules together. Also define the severities, which rules, what the team should looking for, and should gain knowledge about it. And then let's configure the project together. Besides that, conduct internal trainings, because you can see that there is a lot of commands, lot of features. It's very easy to lose using all of these features. So it's really important to keep the priorities on the main ones. And then very important to establishing a feedback loop, because maybe there are some specific rules which are not really adequate in your current status of your code base, or also there is a chance that you guys have a different code standards from the market defaults, and it would be too much effort to migrating or addressing these violations at that moment. For the execution, integrate with your CI/CD. I will show, if you have time, a quick view about how the DCM can also add these reports to your pull request, and introduce it gradually. It means that don't start blocking your colleagues just to following 400 rules from Thursday to Friday. Keep it optional. You can utilize baseline, which can help you to only focusing on newly added or just recently modified code parts within your code base for these violations. But if you want to have a expedited adoption and also addressing these violations in your existing code base, then focus on more on the different severities. Keep as error severities, but on the rules which are actually very important to your code base, and start addressing the violations together with your teams. And don't forget to celebrate also the quick wins, because on the monitoring and the improvement parts, now using the dashboards and other reports, you can also track the progress with the adoption of your teams, and you can start also measuring the impact, TTIs, the screen rendering metrics, the different memory leaks, upsize, a lot of things. For example, you could also use the Dart F tools, which was recently also promoted, and also when you had a good adoption with your team, you can every time evaluating the presets, new rules, and you can also plan additional categories together with your team. That was that was during our preparation phase with our teammates, where we have a Slack channel which is called KonMari, and we also use that for celebrating all of the cleanups. And DCM really strengthen these muscles for us to really keeping only the things which is matter, and also sparks joys for us. So I heavily recommend also to everyone. There are plenty other resources what you can consider to also like a KonMari or code base or like doing cleanups. We haven't had a chance to like touch it, but the custom lean package from the Invertase team can still like providing for all of you multiple ways to have like custom rules. But in DCM you can also have specific bond usage. You can also use danger and other different tools and best practices which can help you to achieve the code base with sparse choice. I hope, besides a room, what we could have a chance using KonMari like cleanup, I hope that with these practices you can also continuing it and can achieve your a desired code base. Thank you so much.
So we have now time for Q&A. So if you have any question, raise your hand. Please, no? Any questions?
Yes.
So it looked like you had, like, it shows like kind of the linter errors in the IDE. Is that something that is always going to be there? If you're adding this to a project, is it going to like kind of make it look awful for until you fix everything, or will there be, can you like turn it off for a bit? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, so within the code base, what we were looking to in this monorepo, like I default enabled all of the recommended rules. But for example, for like introducing for an existing code base and also like working with other teammates, I heavily recommend to turn off the presets, because that already includes like 100 different rules. And then just keep the basically your P0 rules, what you can like address with like errors everything within the first a time. There is also ways to, for example, in particular packages overriding the DCM rules. But if you are really promoting this approach to your teammates, it can also like open other doors to prevent addressing these violations. So like my recommendation will be still like centralizing and keeping the rule configuration in one place and inheriting it within your entire code base. But yeah, you pointed out very important parts. We cannot overwhelm our colleagues, especially when we are introducing a new tool. So like we need to reduce the frictions what we are introducing with them.
Can I add one more thing to this? There's also another command that creates, I think I'm very loud already. That creates a baseline. Technically means when you enable recommended or any other rules, then you get suddenly thousands violations. Then your code base is bloated, so you can't do anything afterwards. What you can do, you can create a baseline, which is excluding those into a JSON file, and tell the editor that, hey, do not show the linting. I know I have error, but don't show it, and gradually go over that baseline file that is generated and add or remove those from that baseline and try to fix them one by one. So you can enable, at least continue whatever you are adding after that baseline, it will be shown as violated, but before that, they will be switched off. So until you fix them one by one.
So I just enabled also the baseline within this project, and then I'm in one of the feature package which added this DCM baseline JSON, and you will have this snapshot that when and which files using cache codes can also save this. And as Majid mentioned, that compared to new code or modified code, these violations can be activated within that part. But if you want to have a faster, if you want to address existing violations faster, then maybe you can also keep, for example, the DCM tool as an optional within your code base. Just let me show it very quickly. So I have, for example, this pull request, what I wanted to do with the weather feature. You can also see that the main Flutter checks, which checks builds, test, formatter, Dart format analyzer, we can keep it mandatory. And for DCM, this can be an additional like a report within the code base, at least in the beginning of the phase. So if a specific like a developer seeing it in the pull request, it also starts showcasing the violations. And there are plenty of other optimization. You can give and provide these DCM reports based on changed packages, based on changed files, with the baseline. So like there are ways to introduce it more gradually to your teams.
Thank you so much. Any
So
question?
much.
Good. So thank you, Csongor. So let's give applause to him. So we take now a break. So feel free to visit Ask the Speaker corner for more discussion. Then the next session is going to start 4:30. Thank you.